TGAN. We begin by hearing an old, wise-sounding voice.
What is up, all my gamer fredulums? It is that time of the year. We're getting near the end of 2025, and it's time to talk about my top 5s of the year, starting with my top 5 games, and then I'm going to do my top 5 adaptations. And 2025 is officially the year that gaming said, "Oh, you thought we were washed." Because somehow we got some remasters done right, sequels that didn't fumble, and multiplayer games that didn't immediately make you install and reevaluate your friendships. So I'm counting down my personal top 5 games of 2025. Not objective, not scientific, just based on vibes, dopamine, and controller wear and tear.
Mr. Rogers raising the hammer.
And yeah, before you ask, this list was finalized after intense research, deep thought, and yelling one more match at 3 a.m. But before I get into my top 5 games of the year, don't forget to take a moment to like and subscribe. It really helps a brother out, and it goes a long way. And I also want to thank everyone for subscribing. I finally made it to 500 subs. It took a while, and now I need to get to 1,000. Once you get to 1,000, I feel YouTube likes you a little bit more. YouTube seems to penalize the smaller channels because YouTube's a jerk. But I really appreciate all the subs that I've gotten this year. So thank you for that. Now let's get into TGAN's top 5 of 2025. Coming in at number 5. What can you really say? It's an Obsidian game, and Obsidian makes great games. I've always feel that they're just too safe. They just take the safe route, and they essentially just kind of make the same game. Obviously, it's good. All their games are good, but none of their games are just like amazing. Like, I wouldn't say Outer Worlds 2 is amazing, or the first Outer Worlds. They're all kind of derivative of the Bethesda Black Isle studio games, back when Black Isle was the studio that originally made the Fallout games before Bethesda picked up the IP. None of them are bad. Like Outer Worlds 2 doubles down on everything I loved and removes almost everything that people complained about in the first game. Bigger worlds, sharper combat, writing that makes you laugh out loud when you're alone like a crazy person. And the dialogue is so good, I actively avoided fast travel just to hear my companions roasting the corporations, and sometimes me, those annoying little jerks.
Agent Ibarra has resumed regular exercise.
One thing that Obsidian always shines at is their companions, how endearing they all are, and they all have their own individual quests. Like, they always have the companion quests. They make it easy to use their specials. It reminds me of just like Mass Effect 2 and 3, where you could just hit the left and right directional buttons to do their moves. I was always really satisfying to be in the middle of a battle and you're just firing off all your different shots at the same time. Though I still am really early, so it's almost not even fair to put this on the list. Outer Worlds 2 didn't just improve, it's a rare sequel that feels smarter, funnier, and even more confident.
Always up for a little backfence talk.
It's almost hard to pick one over the other in terms of where this is on the list. Avowed and Outer Worlds 2 are almost the same game, just one's fantasy and one is sci-fi. Visually, they look exactly the same other than the fact that they're in 2 different worlds. Avowed is proof that Obsidian looked at Skyrim and said, okay, but what if the writing slapped a little harder? Gorgeous, it's weird, lore heavy in a good way, and absolutely allergic to boring quests. Some of the best first-person combat I've played in a game. It's very frenetic. Avowed didn't just meet expectations. Obsidian is the absolute workhorse of the industry, and I don't know how they're able to churn out so many games in 1 year, but they're awesome and one of the best developers working right now.
Those people.
The Mortal Kombat Collection. And this was actually one of my most anticipated games. I love this game because it has the classic MK1, 2, and 3 games, which are my favorite. MK2 being my absolute favorite. I love this collection. If I had to complain, there's just too many versions of the same game. Like, I'm not going to play Mortal Kombat 2, the Game Boy version. I played them all once just to do it, but I'm never going to go back and play a Game Boy version or a Game Boy Advance version especially when better versions of said games, yet they, for some reason, use the Game Boy Advance version, but having the first 3 games and then even the Super Nintendo version of MK2, which I love, is probably my favorite Super Nintendo game. With this collection, NetherRealm really said, remember your childhood trauma? Here it is in 4K. In the earlier games, it wasn't NetherRealm. NetherRealm didn't exist. It was just Midway.
Hey, have you heard of this game, Mortal Kombat?
But you got all the classic games with some modern polish, an online that actually works, even though I didn't check out the online. The fatalities, I still feel like they were designed by a very talented psychopath.
Off-road.
I also really liked the giant, almost Wikipedia-sized history of Mortal Kombat. They had a really very detailed breakdown of all the creation of the games in order. I went through every single one, and it even kind of made it a mini game in a way. When you look at there's like 4 or 5 sections that break down into more, track it, and then once I finally went through everything and quote unquote cleared it all, I was disappointed to learn there was no achievement for that whatsoever. They lose points for that. It seems pretty obvious to do something like that, to go through every single bit of history and look at the videos and click on all the pictures. So slightly disappointed for that, but nothing quite hit like picking Scorpion, missing or getting the combos and still winning because your fatality input is muscle memory from 1996. I also liked how every game had its own option menu and you could turn on certain things like unlimited time when you want to do a fatality, and then some games had easy fatalities where you could just press a button or 2 and it's done. Although that feels definitely way less satisfying. Buttons and you get it right. I actually like the combo system. Some people probably didn't like it, but I liked it, and the adding of the run button. But Mortal Kombat 2 proves the fact that nostalgic violence never dies, and it just gets remastered. As someone who only played some of the original Oblivion, but I played a little bit of it through Game Pass, but then when I saw that there was a remastered version, I just stopped playing it, kind of hoping that maybe they'd even use your cloud save so I didn't have to restart, but nope, so I had to restart. Not a big deal. Oblivion is not nostalgia bait, this is a resurrection. This is how you do a remaster.
Pathetic.
Oblivion Remastered is the reason my backlog is now crying in the corner. Stunning visuals, modern controls, and still the most unhinged NPC conversation ever recorded. Thanks stinking God they added a run button. I can't even deal with older games where you don't have a run button anymore.
There is no run button.
I enjoy playing this in third person, and I like that it had a dodge button. The music hits just as hard as it did before. Quests still slap, and it's a reminder of why I fell in love with RPGs in the first place. And this could be a controversial choice considering it actually came out late last year. I was torn myself. Is there any quote-unquote rules about can you pick a game that's ongoing that came out a year ago?
Où sont les bagages?
My number one game of the year of 2025 is Marvel Rivals. But Rivals is what happens when Overwatch and Marvel have a baby, and Blizzard is legally required to watch to get some tips. When I first saw the trailer for this, oh really? Another hero shooter with Marvel characters? Kind of sounds boring, but I did enjoy Overwatch. I played it somewhat regularly for a while. Definitely a bigger fan of the hero shooter style games. Games like Call of Duty or Battlefield just do not interest me whatsoever when you're really just kind of playing a variation of 5 or 6 different types of characters or different loadouts. So it's way more interesting in a hero shooter where every single character has their own unique kind of styles. I wouldn't have given Rivals a chance at all if it wasn't free, but I played it. Okay, it's alright. And you want to give every character a try to see who you like. If you're a newbie, Punisher is always the best choice. I was never anyone that would get a lot of kills. First time I ever played Namor, I got over 30 kills, and I've never gotten that many kills in any game ever. It's nice to play a game where you don't get sniped and destroyed the second you respawn. I'm a Marvel fan, even though the MCU is getting seriously long in the tooth. But I really started to become obsessed with this game. Played a lot of it earlier this year, probably the first 6 months of the year. I played it every day to get my daily points and whatnot. Then I even actually spent money on it. I don't spend money on skins or add-ons or whatever. When I started seeing some of those costume skins, when I first saw the Wolverine Deadpool 3 skin, yep, I gotta have that. And I don't even play Wolverine that much, but I saw it like that looks slick and I want it. So I actually spent some money on it. I started doing all the battle passes, and then to unlock the whole, you need to spend a bit of money. My only big issue with the game now is that it's gotten so greedy and over monetized. It's kind of gross. It's why I haven't been playing it much in the last few months at all. So I was almost torn about making it my number one. A, because it technically came out last year. Considering it's been updated a gazillion times, they've added so many more heroes. They're almost close to 40, if not already at 40. Came out last year, but it's been updated repeatedly. I didn't think it should work as well as it does with its team-based chaos, insane character variations, environmental destruction. Is it balanced? Not always. Is it fun? Probably the funnest game I've ever played. That's why I loved it so much. Legitimately, really fun. Within the past few months or so, they've over monetized it so much, and the greediness was just getting too gross for me. If you had enough points, you could get things for free, but then other things would be locked up behind the battle pass, but you kept getting skins for it. And then I even would go on Twitch, because you can watch certain Twitch channels and get skin drops. A streamer who has drops enabled, just turn on Twitch. So I would just turn on Twitch and leave it running, and eventually you get a free skin. Kind of obsessed with it for a while, but now I'm over it because of how greedy it's gotten. According to True Achievements, I played 320 hours. That's a lot of stinking hours. Now when I log in, you see all these red lightning icons. If you've played the game, you know what I mean. Like, you log in and there's just so many, to the point where it's just overwhelming. When you end a match, they keep trying to incentivize you to go to the store and spend money. And the greediness has just kind of gotten too much for me. But it is still my favorite game of 2025. Do you think that I'm wrong for picking a game like that? This year, it wasn't as easy to pick my number one game as it was last year. Last year, it was automatically Indiana Jones. 10 minutes into that game, I'm like, yep, this is my game of the year. Loved it, played the crap out of it. But this year, I didn't have a definitively easy out, what's my number one? So I went with Rivals because I played the crap out of it, even though I haven't been playing it lately. 2025 absolutely slapped, especially in Game Pass. I think this is Game Pass best year. A lot of people are saying next year could be the best game year, but I think this was definitely Game Pass's best year in terms of release cadence and the quality of the games. But that is it for me, my top 5 games of the year. Let me know in the comments what your game of 2025 is, what I snubbed, what's the game that I didn't mention whatsoever, and are there any sleeper hits out there that you played that no one else played that you really like, and what is a game that I could lose sleep over next? But like and subscribe and sacrifice a sweet roll to the algorithm, and I'll see you in my top 5 adaptations of the year, which should be coming out somewhere before the end of the year. We'll see how that goes. Until then, all my gamer friendulums, don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to keep gaming. TGAN out. See you in 2026.